So, so there were many requirements in the Black Education Act that the Public Education Department is required to do. A few things for school leaders and schools to do. So I'm going to share with you the Black Education Act page on the Public Education Department's website. The things that you have to have on one of the things you have to have on your website is a link to the ARAO portal, the Anti-Racism, Anti-Oppression portal. So you can come in here, you can click on this link and then grab that and have your webmaster add a similar link to your website. The other thing that you have to do is provide professional development training on the Black Education Act to your staff. So you can see they do have a list well, they've got this information, a professional learning specialist, and I guess there's a required annual Black Education Act. That's new to me. And they've got trainings that you can take. So they've got lots of interesting information and resources for you on the website.
Miss Missy, does Palms and Associates, they did our class last year. Is that still valid if they teach us?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, Palms and Associates is also a great resource. So, hopefully you all really are integrating into your lives that it's active outreach to marginalized groups. And that's just what education is. You need to be actively looking for gaps and actively looking to fill those gaps and actively making sure that the kids, you know, you can't assume really anything about anybody ever again or anymore, right? Like just the way somebody looks doesn't mean that they don't have a particular ethnicity, doesn't mean that they're not homeless, doesn't mean that they're not low income. What you really want to be doing is looking at each child. What does this child need? And how do I get that to this child? That's for me as a Montessorian, like that's like the basis of Montessori. So, just, and I know that it's hard because you get these packages of things you have to do. You have to do this curriculum. You have to do it this way. And in all of that, I'm getting this package of curriculum that I have to provide to my students. This is, what PED says. This is what standards say. This is what our pedagogy says. Within that, you still have to be saying, is every child getting this? Are there barriers? And I really think that mindset is going to be the most helpful to you, is to just be trying to find the barriers to kids and their families, and then think of creative ways in which to eliminate those barriers, so that those kids are going to have the best opportunity to achieve everything achievable that they're setting out to. The tough part is, in my opinion, is that we're not all the same, right? I might not be great at understanding a particular aspect of something, but and it doesn't have necessarily anything to do with my gender, my ethnicity, my upbringing, my culture. So when I was in graduate school, I was studied geology, and in geology, I had I had to teach the lab in which students were understanding crystalline structures, and crystalline structures all have planes of symmetry. And it was fascinating to me the people who couldn't see the planes of symmetry on some things. Like they were like, this is the plane of symmetry. These are the three planes of symmetry. I'm like, but it doesn't express everything, right? That you've only captured some of it. And they really, really struggled with it. I mean, and that to me was really just a metaphor for, or not even a metaphor, it's like just an actual example of, we all process information differently. And there isn't a lot of space and grace for that at the public education department level when we're like, cram it into these kids and get them to, get it out again, like, so that they can understand this. I do think that that's the art of teaching and the hope that, and your focus, like, getting those kids from the lump of clay that they are when they come to you, and you're molding and sculpting and helping them along the way to be the beautiful person that they're going to be. But they're not all going to get math, they're not all going to get creative writing to the same degree, right? But you're going to get them where they with what they need to be. And all of the Martinez Yazzie, the McKinney Vento, the ELA, and the Black Education Act, it's all trying to say, don't let that difference between you and that student, um, or the teacher and the student, or any difference, get in the way or be a limiter in your mind or in the child's mind for their learning. And so really being intentional and thoughtful um, in how you're doing it. But when it comes to the Black Education Act, you absolutely have to have the anti-racism, anti-oppression link on your website, and you have to have professional development for your teachers uh, to understand. And I do think it's extremely important still, because it was this century that Albuquerque Public Schools had a teacher who shamed a Native American student for having long hair. Um, Hair for the African American community is incredibly important. And so, making sure that you don't have restrictions in, or any way that people could interpret um, your discipline policies and procedures that can be, restrictive of people's personal appearance. Um, you know, I think it's appropriate to say, you can't have violent imagery on your clothes. I think that's 100% appropriate. But to tell a child that they couldn't wear their hair in a natural style, or, a very unnatural style, is something you want to try to avoid. So I think that it's important for you to be, as you develop particularly discipline and behavior policies, to make sure that you're asking somebody else to review them with the eye looking for anything that could be construed as insensitive to different cultures and different races. So, although I hate using the word race, right? Race isn't real. That's something we've made up, right? We're all the same. We're a human race. So does anybody have any questions about what the expectation is there?
I'm good at that, but I've got a bunch of other questions for you when it's appropriate. And maybe it's not appropriate to do it during this training, but as always, you know me, I've got a lot of questions.
No, why don't you go ahead? I mean, we've got 15 minutes before our first speaker, so let's start with
And
Steve.
some of them might be Kat and Julia might be interested in.
Mhm.
So we have a person that is interested in being on our board, but is not really ready to commit. And we've talked about her being a non-voting member. How does that work? Is that something we can do? Because obviously anyone can attend the meetings, but what's kind of the role of a non-voting member? How much can they do? Um, do they
So
have to go through the training?
this is an excellent question. And I've actually talked to Julia a little bit about this with one of her board members. So yeah, anybody who's on the board, voting or non-voting, they have to take the training. And so potentially a better option is to have them be on your advisory council. We, in statute, there's a requirement for an advisory council. All schools are supposed to have an advisory council. Nobody's looking at it. Nobody's checking it. It's not in your performance framework. It's not on anybody's checklist. Nobody's going to come for a site visit and say, do you have an advisory council yet? Doesn't mean that somebody won't go, oh, wait a second, this isn't statute and we're going to start doing this. But I think that what it affords a charter school is a lovely little holding space to get people engaged in your school, um, and participating, but they're not at the level of a board member. They're not willing to come to that level yet, but they want to be engaged. And so they're on the advisory council and they could attend board meetings and they could even have a section on the agenda, report from the advisory council or input from the advisory council, depending on, that wouldn't probably be a regular thing, depends on the person or people on your advisory council. So I think having them as if it depends on whether or not they are willing to commit to the training or not, because the training is a lot. 10 hours is a lot. And it tends to scare people off if they're not ready to commit. But an advisory council member, they have a sense of connection to the school, a sense of being able to pay back without any regulatory kind of tick box to be filling. And the hope would be that they would grow to the point where they'd be willing to say, I will serve as a board member in the future. But only, I think that the only thing I've seen where people were truly a non-voting person who attends every board meeting is there's one school that has a person who translates for one of their board members. And so, and it confused me for years. I was constantly like, this person hasn't done their training, and they'd have to remind me again until I finally was like, oh yeah, they don't need to take the training. They're just doing translation. But they're in every meeting. So we're seeing them and we're like, who is this person? Um, so those, I think, your options. I think if they don't want to be a voting member, they probably don't want to commit to taking the training. And so being an advisory council member is perfect because there's really like you could just say, okay, you're an advisory council member, right? You don't have to report that to us. You don't have to, that would just be kind of like on your meeting minutes. If they attend the meeting, you would say advisory council member,
Yeah.
and that's it. So I think that that's probably the easiest aspect
Okay.
of it. And that way they can still be engaged and
And I think that actually in this case it's kind of unique. She's a young woman. She's working on her master's degree, very active in the community, wants to be involved in this. And I said, maybe we really don't need a board member now, but maybe in the future we will. She says, but I want to get in on the ground floor. I want to know what's going on. I want to understand the school.
yeah.
Um, and
And of
so
course, she could still, anybody can take the
right.
training. They just
Right.
need to, you just need to let us know so we can enroll them.
Okay.
We don't mind anybody taking the training at
Yeah.
all. Um,
So I will
but
send you some information on her because I think I'd like
okay,
to have her take the training because I think that's also for her, it's an opportunity to understand more how boards work and what it entails because she's going to be running major corporate boards in 20 years from now.
yeah, yeah. So terrific. And right, if she doesn't, so we can have them do that, but you need to let us know person is going to be, because if they're going to be a non-voting board member, we're still going to need all the paperwork and we're going to need the affidavit and all that stuff. If they're going to be
Yep.
an advisory council member who's taken the
We
new
don't need
member
any of that.
training, fine.
Look,
And if they then transition to become a board member, in a relatively, 12 months, 18 months kind of time period, I wouldn't make them take the training again. They would just jump in
yeah.
having had that credit. So,
Okay. I'll talk to her about that, but I think that's I'd like to get her as involved as possible.
yeah, no, I think it's when people show up at your door and are interested, I
Grab
think
them.
getting them, looping them in as soon as possible is helpful because it's going to be hard. It's really going to be hard. Finding board members is really hard, and it should not ever, ever, ever be the responsibility of Kat Duran and Julio Rivera Tapia to be finding board members after this stage, like for the initial part, but then it really should be a function of the board. And not enough boards are doing that and understanding that. And it's hard to engage people. Like surely there are businesses and business owners and other community members who don't have a kid at your school or a grandkid at your school who would be really valuable to have on your board, but they're not going to join just because you send them an email and ask. Like you have to build that relationship first. And again, like, an advisory council, you know, or, you're somebody in the community who hires, you're going to hopefully be hiring a lot of our kids. And we really value your opinion. We value what you would have to say that how you'd want our school, like flatter people like that. But it takes time and a head administrator might have some of that time, but that's really good use of board member time, that outreach, that schmoozing, that trying to get them engaged in the school. And again, I just don't know that enough schools are doing that because everybody has an opinion on education. Absolutely everybody has an opinion on education. But the business owners in your communities are hiring these kids and they want to have quality employees. And
Yep.
so that's one way to engage them, in my opinion.
Okay. Quick question. We do have a head of school now. What do I need to send you for her?
Um, so uh, there are another bunch of forms. I will. Um,
I can grab that and drop it in the chat.
okay, thank you.
Thanks, Greg.
Um, it's my brain has not been functioning except for like breathing and eating. And so I'm really proud that I was able to log into my computer and remember Zoom and remember passwords. So thank
Okay.
you, Greg. But there are things, and I don't know if they're linked in Epicenter or what, but it's also an Epicenter task. So
Okay. But we do have that, so thank God.
thank
She's
goodness.
she had to give she gave notice to it. She's at another school now, so she's going to be working with us on evenings and weekends for the next month, and then she'll be full time.
Can you tell us who it is or?
You wouldn't know her. Her name is Maggie Dodd. She's at Rio Gallinas. She spent a lot of time out here with with their outdoor education programs. She's a level 3 teacher. She took the practice admin thing and got 58 out of 60 questions right. So she's feeling pretty good that she's going to complete that, take
Hey,
that
she's a
test.
level 3 licensed teacher in the state of New Mexico. That's that's what, that's
Yeah,
the starting point, and she'll get the licensure, I'm sure.
yeah.
So excellent, and I'm glad that it's from a person who's been
She's right
connected
next
with
door.
CLAC and understands what you
Yep.
offer, because that's gonna be very, very helpful, I think. So excellent. I'm so happy. I'm so happy
Yeah.
about.
I'd send you some bylaws. You had looked over
Yes,
them and said it's a good start. I was going to meet with the attorney again, and if you have some comments, I'd like to incorporate those in there.
right. I did find my, so what I did was I downloaded and I started putting comments,
Okay,
and I'm gonna hopefully
okay. Well,
be
just
able to
yeah.
shoot that back to you today.
Okay.
Yeah.
We originally had thought K through 4 for our classrooms. The PEC gave us K through 8, um, which and we're kind of thinking maybe doing K through 5. Do we have to do anything if we decide to do that? The, and the problem we're having is that we got all kinds of people that have kids in 4th grade. Oh, but they're going to be too old. Can you do 5th grade? And as soon as we say we're going to do 5th grade, people are, oh, we've got 6 kids that are going to be in 5th grade. Can we do 6th grade? Um, so it's going to be a problem no matter what. But
It's going to be
there's
a
some.
problem no matter what. And so, yeah, you need what we need. So right now it's still okay to be kind of, you really want to try to find out what you want to hard
Yep.
and fast start with, because, you have to think about, is, is our, is our population, what does that do for our teachers,
Right.
and who I'm hiring for staff, and how are we meeting out, across all our small number
Yeah.
of
So
students. But once contract negotiations happen, that has to be firm, telling school budget. So,
yeah.
we
No.
really want to know by February-ish time, March time,
So
so that school budget
yeah,
knows.
we're going to open up the lottery at the end of January. And at that point, we really want to know, we really want to be able to tell people this is the grades we're serving.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the next question on the lottery. As you start really thinking about it, boy, it gets complicated. Because we've got a student enrollment cap. You kind of want to have the same number of kids in each class. What if we only have 3 people sign up for kindergarten, but we got 10 people signing up for 5th grade? What if you have, and then you got siblings, and so okay, so siblings get priority, but what if that's the 5th grader has a 2nd grader, but the 2nd grade class is already filled? How do there's just so many things to. And what if you have some classes that aren't filled, and but you've got extra people for 3rd grade, but you also have some extra in 1st grade. Which ones do you pick?
Yeah, it's none of this is easy, Steve.
Okay.
All right, but I see we have uh our folks, our first bureau. I'm gonna hand it over to Ted now.
Yeah, I forgot that on Friday, Laura Henry Han emailed me and said she wouldn't be able to attend. She said Trista Ryan would be, and um, is that you, Trista? Okay. You're muted. You're still muted.
There we go. Sorry about that. I'm having some technical difficulties this morning.
That's okay, Trista. So we have three implementation year schools on. We have Collins Lake Outdoor School and Mr.
Okay.
Steve Smaby from Mora. And we have Equip Academy of New Mexico and Ms. Kat Duran from in Albuquerque. And then our third school is Inspira STEAM Academy in Las Cruces, and we have Julia Rivera Tapia on.
Good morning, everybody. Sorry, I don't know how my computer is whacking out this morning. My name's Trista Ryan. I'm a program coordinator here with the Public Education Department. I cover schools A through C, and I'm here for Laura Henry Hand, and I'm just going to give you an overview of the National School Lunch Program and what it takes to kind of get on board with us. So I did create a little bit of a PowerPoint here to share with you. Just a moment here. All right, and then if you wouldn't mind letting me know if you can see the PowerPoint when it gets pulled up. Can everybody see the presentation here?
I just see a blue screen.
All righty, give me just
Oh,
a
there it
moment.
goes. It just
Okay,
popped up.
wonderful. Okay. Yeah, it's a Monday. My computer's filling the Monday.
No problem. We all are.
Everybody have a good weekend while I'm waiting for this thing to get on board here.
Yeah. We can see it says National School Lunch Program Overview.
Okay, perfect. All right. So, again, that's what we're here to cover today. And yeah, my screen is giving me a hard time. So here we have two sides to our program. We have the federal programs, which are the National School Lunch Program, the School Breakfast Program, the After School Snack Program, and the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program. And we have Seamless Summer Option. Those are kind of monitored by the USDA. And then on the other side, we have our state programs, which are the Healthy Universal School Meals and New Mexico Grown. And we're going to kind of get into a little bit more meat and potatoes of those programs. The Student Success and Wellness Bureau, what we do, there's the hierarchy. We have Michael Chavez, which is the director of our bureau. We have Laura Henry Hand, who's going to be the deputy director, and she monitors the state side. And we have Rochelle DeQuardo, who monitors the federal side, like the national school lunch side. But we all work as a team to get the state as much reimbursement and the kids as much healthy food as possible. So here at the Student Success and Wellness Bureau, we help with reimbursements to school food authorities. And in our world, you guys know we love our acronyms. So there's a lot of them. The SFAs is what we refer to our school food authorities as. But we monitor the reimbursement for meals and snacks that follow federal and state requirements, including offering free and reduced price meals to eligible students. But with Healthy Universal School Meals, if everybody that's on that program is compliant, then every child in the state of New Mexico will eat for free regardless of income. And we'll talk about the way that works. We monitor the school food authorities and sponsors to ensure compliance with state and federal guidelines and regulations. So to be a part of this program, we do monitor the food, and starting, I believe, March of 2026, we're going to start certifying menus, which means 50% of each component served has to be either scratch or speed scratch cooking. So a component is going to be your protein, the meat alternates, grain, fruits and vegetables, milk or dairy. And 50% of each one of those per week would have to be scratch or from scratch cooking. And that is if you are participating in Healthy Universal School Meals. We do in-person and online trainings. We have big events. We just had a chef symposium where there's 5 of us that help monitor the schools that are in my position, program coordinators, and they paired us with chefs, and it's trying to reteach our state how to not do the heat and serve anymore. So it's a big task that we've taken on, but this is something that if you want to join this program, that is a really important piece of it. We offer targeted support and resources to promote program integrity, innovation, and effectiveness. So we know it's a lot. APS, Albuquerque Public Schools alone, serves 66,000 students a day. So what we're asking to do is a lot, and even down to the small schools like the charters or with smaller, everybody's equally important, but that's kind of what we do. We offer the training, the monitoring, all that good stuff. We also provide guidance and support to superintendents, teachers, business managers, food service directors, and other state of New Mexico department staff. So we work very closely with the Department of Health. We do direct certification matches, which is how we capture a lot of the children that would fall under that free or reduced category, because reimbursements are still given by category in some situations. If you are wanting to join this program, some of the things that you're going to want to consider, we have two types of operations. We have a self-operation, and we have where you run with a food service management company. A self-operation is where the district has its own employees. The district handles its own HR, hiring, fringe benefits, all that good stuff. You have to develop your own menus, claims, certifications, all of that. That would be a self-operation. You would just have a department in your district or in your site that would manage this program. If you decide to use a food service management company, that's another option for you, but you would still be responsible for everything with the federal government, if that makes sense. You are selecting your contract company, so you would have to make sure that they have the credentials and all the certifications that they need to manage this program. So you would still ultimately be responsible, but the food service management companies, depending on which one you choose, they facilitate employees. They facilitate standardized recipes. They do the training, all that good stuff. And you would just contract with them. And we're going to go into that if you decide to go with a food service management company, how that works and the procurement process with the state. So those are the two different types of operations that you'll have to consider. Self-operation or a food service management company.
Trista, I
If
just want to make sure you're because you're still on the first
oh,
slide,
I'm
but
sorry, is
I
not
didn't know
catching
if
up.
you were just talking over that or if
No,
there's
actually, we have corresponding slides. My computer is
okay.
just being a nightmare. Did it catch up with me yet?
No, it's still on the
All
first
right.
slide.
I am going to stop share and try this again. I apologize, guys. Any action on your end?
Just see the first slide.
How about now?
Unfortunately, it's still just the first slide. Sorry.
Darn it. We have this beautiful Albuquerque office now, but the internet's kind of honky here.
Yeah, it definitely
Let's
is.
see. Come on screen. And if I do continue to have issues, guys, I will send this out to you. I am very, very sorry.
That's okay. Things happen.
Mr. Greg, that document that you sent, what what is that? Because I'm not able to open it when I click on it.
Okay, guys, I will definitely share this with you. I am so sorry that this isn't working.
Julie, I think that was for me.
Got
Yeah,
it. Thank
so
you.
that should link to the actual document that's hosted on the PED website. And
Okay.
that's the head administrator change form, change notification.
Okay,
Need help?
thank you.
Yeah, can you come by? I'm calling for backup. We got Jerome here. He's the other program coordinator. See if he can
What are you trying to do?
share my screen.
Share your
Yeah,
screen?
let's see.
Or did you hit?
So down here, yeah, see, this is what I'm trying to share here,
Okay.
and it's not popping up on their end.
It's sharing. We're just only seeing the first slide.
Yeah, it's not changing slides on me. So,
And you don't want to change the slide. Right.
so here, it won't catch up on the other side.
So what are they seeing now?
They're just saying that this national scholar's the first page.
Yeah, it's not changing pages.
Mm-mm. All right, guys. Well, I apologize. And basically all that I'm reading off of is it's just words that are written on the page. But I will send you guys over all of the information. Thanks, Jerome. I'll send you guys over this entire presentation. That way you have all of the information and the contact stuff. I'm very sorry.
That's okay. Thanks, Tristan.
Yeah. So that's where we were at, is with the food service management company, the contracts. If you are going to utilize the food service management company, there is the bid process. You have to go out to RFP. With that, there are deadlines that we're going to have to reach. And I do have a slide that shows the deadlines, but I'm going to email that over to you. That way you guys have everything that you need. With the food service management company, when you're going out to contract, there are two different type of contracts that you can select from. We do have the cost reimbursable and a fixed contract. The state does encourage to go with a fixed price contract, just because cost reimbursable, it's going to vary every month. Whatever your contract company spends in groceries, whatever they deduct from inventory, it's just going to be a variable price. Whereas if you do a fixed rate, it is a certain cost per meal. So the way the reimbursements work is it's one reimbursable breakfast and one reimbursable lunch per student per day. Depending on some categories by classification, that would determine how much of a reimbursement you get back, whether they're free and reduced or paid. I believe 98% of the state now is on what's called CEP, which is Community Eligibility Provision. And that means everybody, whatever your free rate is, let's say you're at 70%, you would get 70% at the highest rate possible, which is the free rate. And then the remaining balance would be in at the paid rate, which is the lowest rate. So that's kind of how reimbursements work. When we put out Healthy Universal School Meals, I think the misconception was that it was free for all, free food for adults, for everybody. But what we like to make sure everybody understands is you're getting reimbursed for one breakfast, one lunch per student per day. So if we're giving out extras, it's essentially the same thing as going to Walmart with $150 and going over to $200 because you're giving away extra food. We have different programs in our fresh fruit and vegetable program. We want the kids to have what they need. We want the kids to have fruits and vegetables. So there is no limit on that. And in high schools, we do require offer versus serve, which is where the kids can get a selection of fruits and vegetables, and they have the option to decline. We encourage that in the younger grade groups, but it is a requirement in the high school level. The meal pattern and cycle menus, that's what we go by with standardized recipes. So we come in and we do admin reviews for this program. And that's where we look at your recipes. We make sure that you guys are hitting sodium targets, sugar targets, all that good stuff. And those are defined by the USDA. So every year we have different targets. Right now, I think we're on a 3-year sugar reduction plan. So, and it's harder to reach than you would think. But the vendors that we work with, Cisco, Shamrock Foods, a bunch of the other big ones, they kind of market to our SFAs because they know we got a lot of kids we feed, 66,000 alone at APS. So they're kind of working with us to come up with compliant products like the breakfast cereal. We have a lot of breakfast in the classroom, so they are working with the targets to get the sugar down in those. So these are all things that you have to consider, especially if you're a self-operation. Professional standards is part of the administrative review process. This is where we come in and we look at how much hours of training are required for your staff. So we have different training requirements for 12-hour staff, part-time staff, directors have different requirements. And those are our annual trainings. And since it is federal funds and state funds, we do have USDA training requirements and USDA requirements on all of our materials. Deadlines and standard operating procedures for the submission of claims. we're dealing with a big piece of money. And the way I like to tell people is like, think of it like your taxes. If you're working with this program, you get your biggest reimbursement from your federal, and then you get the rest from the state. And that's kind of how this program works. But there's a different set of requirements for the state and for the federal, but they do kind of commingle and work together. School wellness and food safety policies are also a part of this program. So I'm sure everybody here that works with schools knows what the wellness policy is, but coming from the food service standpoint, we want to make sure everybody's included in that. We want teachers to understand why, if it's healthy universal school meals, why we can't serve the entire staff for free. Or we want everybody to be educated. That way they understand this program and the actual benefits from it. Verification, classification, and direct certification, that's a big beast. Again, that's how we find out where your kiddos are and where you guys are as a site or a district. So that's where we collect free and reduced applications in some instances, unless you are brought on CEP. And we do the direct certification where we find as many kids as we can capture as possible to get you guys more funding through this program. I'm going to switch my slide. That way I know what I'm talking about. I'm so sorry, guys. If you are going with a food service management contract, again, there are timelines for procurement and procedures. So the notification of the SFA for RFP and to get technical assistance is November. So that was last month, but we're still doing good. State agency RFP approval. That's when you kind of let us know, and I can be your contact point for this. And depending on like where you fall on the name of your site, you'll have a different program coordinator. I have schools A through C, and then Jerome, I'm not sure if you guys saw when he came to help. He's got, I believe, later in the alphabet, but I will set you up with whoever your program coordinator is to get you all of this information if you decide that you do want to join our program. So December, January is when we need to know your interest and get your RFP approval. And we have to do a release and a solicitation in January. So since you are going out for RFP, we do have to do a public release and let people know, that way they have the opportunity to bid. Proposal meeting and site visit tour. This is optional for the SFAs. This is the beginning of February. So if you're going to do this, you want the people that are, soliciting you to come in and see your site. They need to see, we have different types of operations. If you go with the food service management company, sometimes they have what's essentially like a central kitchen, and they can deliver hot meals if you don't have that capability on site. So that's another thing. You have to look at your facility, see what type of equipment that you'll need to keep hot food hot, cold food cold, and to practice food safety. At the end of February, proposals are due. At the beginning of March, proposals are scored. So these are the proposals you get back from the food service management company, and there is a scoring process in order to select the best fit for you. School Food Authority submits the score sheet, a copy of the solicitation, and proposer's final contract for the state agency approval in March. So as you can see, if you guys are wanting to hop on the program, we're kind of right where we need to be to get started and get you guys doing what you need to do. And in the end of March, a notification of a parent's successful proposer is submitted. In April, the School Food Authority and the Food Service Management Company completes their contract. April or May, we have to get board approval of the selected proposer. So if you guys are in a charter, not sure how that would work with you, but that's when that gets done. State agency approval will be May and June, and the contracts are signed and executed by the School Food Authority and the Food Service Management contract in June. And we submit the signed contracts to Public Education Department at the end of June. And just so you guys are aware, the way that our applications fall is from July to June. So our new school year starts in July, and the end of the application would be June of the following year. I do have a screen, which I'm going to send it out to you. It's going to show you all of our approved vendors. So you can't just go and pick anybody you like. They have to be approved through the state of New Mexico if you're operating in the National School Lunch Program. So a couple of examples, since you guys can't see my screen, unfortunately, we have SFE, Southwest Food Service Excellence, Aviance, Canteen, Cravings Cafe and Catering, Chartwells, Sodexo, Swan Kitchen, SLA Management, Agriculture, Implementation Research, Nama Catering, Taher, Airmark, Genuine, and Rhubarb. Those are the ones that I see on my screen right now, and they have gone through the vetting process through the state of New Mexico, and those are the current selections. And all of this can also be found on our website as
Miss
well. And I'm going to
Ryan,
send you guys that. Yes, ma'am.
is LCPS included in that list?
LCPS. I don't see them here, but I can double check.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and the one that I have in front of me, and I'm so sorry, guys, that you guys can't see my screen. But I will check on that for you because they
Thank
might
you.
not have just been updated. Yes, ma'am. And that's another piece. If you guys know of people that do want to join our approved vendor list, there's a process for that. So I can help you with that, but that person, they would have to do essentially what you would have to do if you're a self-operation, submit standardized recipes, submit a cycle menu, all that good stuff to show what you are planning on serving the students. And then obviously we got, food, health inspections, certificates to operate, all that good stuff that we would have to acquire as well. So once we've done all that, once we've decided if we're a food service management company or if we're a self-operation, and we've gone through the timeline, and I'm going to send that over to you all. What we're going to do is make sure that we have what's called the SAMS ID, if anybody's familiar with what that is. And we also need a vendor ID. And that can be done through your program coordinator. So you would just fill out a W-9 for the vendor ID. And we have websites and forms, all that fun stuff when you guys get to that piece. As soon as you've got your SAMS ID and as soon as you've got your vendor ID, you're going to do an initial application, which you would acquire from your program coordinator. And I'll be your point of contact for the beginning. And with that initial application, you would give us that information we need, like latitude, longitude, coordinates of your site. There's just a lot of information that we need for a physical location at that point. Once that's received by your program coordinator, we send that off to the people that need it. They let us know if they need anything else. And once that's complete, we get you guys where you need to be. Then you're going to do a certificate of authority. That's going to be 2 people, 2 representatives from your school food authority that's going to have access to the portals. The portals are where you fill out the annual application. That is also where you fill out your claims. That's where you do your reimbursements every month. So the annual application, that's where you go in. If you have one site, you fill out all the information for that. If you have multiple sites, you would list them under there. And that's where you work with your program coordinator. We have to have your start times, your stop times, your operating days, your enrollment, all of that good stuff. And the purpose of this is when we get to administrative review time, which is a 5-year cycle now. And this is basically like the audit process. We just want to make sure that we are doing everything we need to from beginning to end. That way we start ready. We don't have to get ready when it comes that time. So the annual application, once that's done again, usually around the end of the school year, around May and June, we open it up for the next year because we already know that everybody goes on vacation. Unfortunately, I won't be in Cancun, but hopefully you guys will, and I won't be able to reach you. So we do ask that that annual agreement is completed before the summer break starts, just so that we have the information that we need and we kind of have a guesstimate of how many people are going to be operating. Any questions so far?
Yeah, let me, and hopefully this makes things much, much simpler. We're a very, very, very small charter school up in Mora. We've got a good relationship with our public school, and we've done summer reading programs here. They provide food for us. And so we've talked to their food service manager about basically just having them provide, cook and provide meals for our students. That seems like if we do
Okay,
that, things are really, really simple, I hope.
they
I
are.
assume
And with that,
we
yeah,
don't have to go out for RFPs or anything, they're the only people within, 30 miles.
right. And with that, what they would do is all of this stuff that I'm talking about, they would be responsible for, and they would essentially just add you to their contract. They would have a contract with you that talked about what they would do with their reimbursement rate because they would handle the claim. They would do all of that because you would be housed under their application. So yeah, that you're absolutely correct with that.
So would we get paid for the meals and then have to pay them, or would they get paid directly for what the meals that they provide us?
So whoever houses the application, so if Mora has the application, they would receive the reimbursement and you guys would have that conversation
Okay,
about what that looks like. And most cases, we're gonna come out pretty even. But if the SFA is going into the red, then the biggest thing that I see is they need you guys to help. If they need you to collect free and reduced applications, because if they put you on their application, the way it works is then their percentage is going to either go up or down depending on your student population, if that makes sense.
right.
So
I
if
think
you've got a lot of free and reduced kids, it's going to help them, but if you don't, it's going to hurt them.
I think out here everybody's free lunch, so they don't
Awesome.
charge anybody.
Yeah. So that's how that would work, and I can help if you guys have any questions during that process, and I'm pretty sure they're pretty well versed in how that
Right.
works.
Yeah.
Any other questions? So
It sounds like it's much easier because we've also thought about trying to do it ourselves. And
yeah.
after hearing you and other people talk about this, oh my God, let's just do it with the school. It'll
And
save us.
it's a giant beast. I will not lie to you guys. It is. I started as a dishwasher. And
Okay.
yeah, so I know this process, but it is worth it because I mean that's your most important school supply, right? Is keeping your kids full. We need to have them with their fuel that they need so they can learn reading, writing, and arithmetic. So that's the point of us having all of these federal regulations. It's not because we're like, hey, we want you to work harder and serve dark green vegetables. It's because we want the kids to have what they need. And it's when you're shorthanded and I mean, food service is food service anywhere. We're going to open a can every day if that's the easiest thing to do if we don't got regs to follow. So that's the point of all of this. It's all for the kiddos. And I'm here for any of you guys if you have any questions about this program. I've kind of got it all up here. I've done it since the dishwasher. But I'm here for you guys if you need anything at all. And again, I greatly apologize that my PowerPoint was being a pain this morning, but I will email that out to you so you guys do have that information if you so choose to do something on your own.
Thank you so much, Trista. That's great
You're very
information.
welcome, of course. And I'm sorry if I rambled on. I'm sorry you had to
You.
hear my voice with no picture.
That's okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. And then I guess I will just email this presentation. And I also do have something from is it Kate Ulrich through our division, and it's just a bunch of really good information that I'll send for you guys. Even if you do go with somebody else, it's good to know about this program because there's a lot of good benefits to it.
Great. That sounds great.
Awesome. Thank you guys very much. Appreciate you having me.
All right. Thank you.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
take care. Bye-bye.
Okay, it looks like we have about 4 minutes until, and I know Erica's already here, but if anyone needs to take a break, we can start the next one at 10 o'clock.
I've got one real quick question. On my calendar, I've got something at 1:30 to 3:30 that says mission goals, training for contract negotiation. And I don't know if that's old or if there's something else going on today.
Missy,
That's not old. That is, so all of the schools that have been renewed and our IY schools, you will all have to think about your mission goals in a much deeper way. And actually, it's this afternoon's work is going over the reporting templates that you will have to use annually for
Okay,
reporting your mission goal data. So,
okay. So
really
that's a real,
refining the mission goal, making sure that it is measurable, that it's going to be acceptable, and that you understand the reporting aspects of it. And because that's an annual requirement. And it's
okay, so that's a real thing. I
it's
didn't,
a real thing.
I was confused that that was maybe the same thing that we're doing right now.
No, it's Dr. Russell's going to be leading that
Okay,
with Kim Faulkner, Dr. Faulkner. So
1:30 to 3:30. Okay,
yeah,
I've been saving time just in case it was real.
it's real.
Okay. So while we're waiting, let me, two more really quick things. We are working on our website. We've got a website developer. Kat and I are kind of working together, to come up with that. We'll have similar websites. On Epicenter, I've put everything in there, still waiting on comments on some of those. A little minor thing, there's two things in there that are supposedly due December 29th, but they're duplicates of things that we've already submitted. So I don't know, it's still showing up there as something that's due, and I've already done it. They're just duplicates.
If you can just, do you know what the ask is that's a duplicate? Because it's hard. I can't see on my end that I've
Okay.
duplicated something. I need you to tell me
Let me see if I
the
can,
the name of it.
my tasks, here we go. Uh, let's go to active. One is evidence of public notice on governing board meetings on website.
Evidence of public. Okay. And the next
And
one.
then the other one was annual process for appointing equity council members. So it was showing originally like December 15th, and then it saw a second one for December 29th.
Yeah. So I'll work on removing those. It's
Okay. And I think if we could do
the
that, and then we
whole
get
the
a,
whole implementation year checklist is just like such a cluster in Epicenter, and I haven't been too wigged out about it because we're gonna overhaul the entirety of the IY checklist, but I absolutely, it just turns my head inside out. And you guys all should understand and know, like, if we've made an error in Epicenter, it's not going to reflect poorly on you, reflect poorly on me. If it's not gonna reflect poorly on you, we're not holding you to anything. So in an effort to make sure that I wasn't leaving anything off, I definitely, obviously duplicated effort there. So sorry, I will eliminate.
oh, no problem at all. I just, I didn't know whether or not I should submit it a second time for the same
No,
thing.
yeah, I appreciate you not submitting.
That might confuse things even worse.
Cat.
I will say that after I met with Lucy and Mr. Gallegos in November, it's been easier for me to keep track of my IY list because we color coded it and then I made like a whole separate copy, Steve. And I've been linking everything I've put in Epicenter into that sheet so that I'm not confused anymore. And then I can let Missy know, like, oh yeah, here it is. So I don't know if that's a practice you want to look at. Just what I did was I color coded things that I needed to do, and then I've been looking for like any duplicates, and then putting those
Okay.
dates in has been pretty helpful.
Yeah,
And
and
actually, I'm going to be looking at that as like, how can we incorporate Kat's ideas into what we want to move forward with? I love color coding myself.
Yeah. So yeah, and then I've been linking it so that I know that I put it in because that's how my brain works. It's very complex. And then Missy, you'll see like a whole list of things that I that are on the list that I know haven't been updated. So I need you to just open them for me. So that's how I'm keeping track.
Okay.
and
And
yeah, I've
I
got
will
this,
get there.
yeah, the same issue that we've submitted everything. I know there's some that need some work. We can't change them until you've rejected them. Um, I'm trying to keep a list of things that, see, I don't know when you've kind of fully accepted them.
So you guys don't get messages when it's like, yeah,
I don't think so. Maybe,
yeah, no, it's,
yeah, the only thing we get is when there's something wrong with it, we'll say that wasn't, correct. And then generally I know exactly what it was, and
Yeah.
then I'll resubmit it. But I don't know.
I feel like the PEC gave us a moonshot goal and I'm still struggling to get out of a canvas bag. So
Okay.
as I'm rocketing through the stratosphere, but yeah. And I have new staff that's coming on that's going to be responsible for some of the Epicenter stuff, and that'll be another brain to help me. So, but this the IY checklist and the way Epicenter folks assigned everything and like all of it, it just, yeah, it's a cluster. So thank you.
And then like with when I've got Maggie on board here, I've just given her access to the epicenter through my login information. I would assume that we can probably get her own log information, so we're not.
Yeah,
That'd be better.
anybody that you want to have Epicenter, we can't tell Epicenter to do it. You have to tell Epicenter to
Oh, okay,
to
okay.
do
So
it.
it's not you.
It's yeah, I mean you can CC us in the email, but you have to tell Epicenter support. Like you'll want to give them the name of your head
Right.
administrator, or you want to and whoever else is going to
Oh,
need
that
access to Epicenter. They
I
won't do
didn't
it
realize that.
just
That's
because
very helpful.
no,
Thank
and
you.
you wouldn't have any reason to have realized it because we haven't reached that point yet. But um, any school staff has to come from the school. It can't come from us, and I don't understand it, but that's what it is. So
Okay.
Okay, everyone, we have Erica Wheeler on from the Literacy and Humanities Bureau to talk about Fine Arts Education Act. Erica, we have 3 implementation year schools. We have Inspira STEAM Academy in Las Cruces. We have Equip Academy of New Mexico in Albuquerque. And we have Collins Lake Outdoor School in Mora.
Hi, everyone. Great. Thank you. I was going to ask who was present. Can you just clarify for me what does implementation year mean?
These
so
schools, go
yeah,
ahead,
you want to
Missy.
take that, Ted? Yeah, it's Erica. This is they are they are semi-official. They are they are taking the next step. So in June of 2026, the commission will vote on whether or not to commence operations with these schools so that they'll start. So like Equip Academy of New Mexico went through this process last year. They had a change in school leadership. They didn't have a licensed head administrator. So the applicant school asked to do this again. And only 2 of the 3 schools then got promoted to actual schools. So these are we don't really have a term for it. They're going to be LEAs as soon as they're through this. This is their process for getting ready for students, hopefully starting July of 2026.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So I'm going to share my screen, and while I'm doing that, introduce myself. I am Erica Wheeler. I am the Humanities Specialist, which means that I oversee the implementation of the social studies standards as well as fine arts programming. And then within that, I oversee the Fine Arts Education Act, which provides funding for K through 6 programming. So I just want to let you know if any of the schools on here, any of the 3 of you are just secondary or high school, this might not pertain to you. If you are secondary starting at 6th grade, then it would pertain to you because you could get funding just for your 6th grade. But I just wanted to let you know, if you are high school and you need to take a longer break, go ahead because this does not pertain to you. So just wanted to clarify that. Oops, I have to get my cursor over here. All right, so the FAEA is the Fine Arts Education Act, and PED's core mission within the arts education is to promote equity, excellence, inclusion, education, and diversity in and through the arts, humanities, and integrated into literacy, math, and sciences, and social studies, and foster a rich cultural life for all New Mexicans and boost learning and achievement. And now the arts, of course, can be a great way to meet the mandates of the Yazzie Martinez lawsuit. Which very clearly continue to talk about equity, inclusion, and diversity. So that language remains in this mission. And the vision for the FAEA is equity and culture elevates the quality of life in all of our communities and drives arts education growth across the creative economy. These programs are inclusive and equitable and embrace diversity. These programs empower a new generation through creative youth development and education. And I want to pause there for a moment and let everyone know that Michelle Lujan Grisham, our governor, signed a proclamation declaring this year, 25-26, as the year of the arts in education. So that's not just art education, but it is the arts in education. And so, that means integration, integration to literacy, math, sciences, and social studies. And if anybody has a question, I welcome people to just come off mute and ask the question. I have no problem with that. So K-6 funding basics, FAEA. So the FAEA funding flows through the State Equalization Guarantee, the SEG. The number of fine arts education program units is determined by multiplying the full-time equivalent membership in programs. That means the FAEA program. Implemented in accordance with the provisions of the FAEA Act, so that's K-6, by the cost differential factor, which was increased last year. Actually, that was the year before. I will show you what that actually means. This is just the language, but I do have the equation there. And how do you apply? Well, the FAEA requires an annual application. And the applications are posted on the PED Humanities and Art webpage each March. I hold a how-to webinar each March, and applications are due at the end of May. And I will actually go over that again as well. So here are the FAEA funding calculations. So for existing programs, it is an average of the 80 and 120-day membership. And for new programs, which would all be you, it would be the 40-day. And I do have some more information about how to set that up at PED. And so you take that, whatever membership, times this cost differential factor, times the unit value for the upcoming school year, and then you get your amount. So this amount, so for the FY26, the amount is $6,801.35. It is subject to change, but here's an example is a school with 2,000 K-6 students times that cost differential factor of 0.055 times the preliminary unit value. And that is quite a sizable amount of money for 2,000 students. And so it is worth it, even if, again, you are secondary, you are just working with secondary students, but if those secondary students do include sixth graders, then it is definitely worth doing this. So for new programs, the procedure, your business managers or head administrators need to be set up in the OBMS as users utilizing the OBMS. And once set up, they will need to complete the membership projections module. And what I can do is I will put a copy of this presentation into the chat, and this is a live link to the PED membership and new program projections manual. So you will be able to get more information there. And so again, how to apply. It does require an annual application, regardless of the size, regardless of how many students. Every single LEA who is getting FAEA funding does need to resubmit an application every year. because even though the money flows through the SEG, we need to ensure that the money is being used for fine arts programming. And so the applications are posted on the PED webpage each March. And then I hold that how-to webinar, and applications are due at the end of May. I am extremely forgiving with that deadline because I really do want to ensure that students are receiving fine arts programming. And I don't want to withhold funding from anybody. So I'll just say that up front, although it helps me tremendously if you do meet that deadline. But I am willing to work with you because, again, fine arts programming is so very important for our students and for the quality of their educations. So are there any questions about that? Because that's really all I have about the FAEA. And then I just want to do a little advertisement for a arts integration virtual webinar series that I'm holding. So I'll do that after I check in and see if you have any questions.
Yeah, so one question I've got is this, and I know so little, it's scary, but is this something that is there specific classes that have to be done, or is this something that you can integrate into your existing classes?
That is a really great question. Thanks for asking. So for schools, so what we realize is that for schools that have very few students, you probably wouldn't get enough funding to fund a teacher.
Right.
So the language is that as long as a licensed teacher is overseeing the arts programming, then you can get community members to teach the classes. You
Okay.
can use your funding for art supplies or musical instruments, anything like that. And then as long as, again, it's a licensed teacher who's overseeing what's happening in the classrooms with kids. And as long as those community members, go through the background checks and everything like that, then that's how you can deliver that fine arts programming.
Okay, thank you. That's helpful. Yeah, because that's kind of what we've done out here in the past with other programs. It's community members coming out and sharing their things. Um, and if we have any funding to kind of help support them for their supplies or their time, we'll throw a little bit their way.
Excellent. Great. And yeah, and I know that schools, they work with NDI or they work with Ballet for Folklorico. There are so many museum programs in different areas, parts of the state. So yeah, that is permissible.
Are
Any
we able
other?
to apply even though we don't have students? Because I know there's been a few um, of these applications, but they're being rejected because we're not fully
Oops.
yeah, we're not
So
100% in.
yes, you need to get in touch with school budget. And again, I'll put this link, I'll put this PowerPoint in the chat. And this is a live link down here, the membership and new program membership projections manual. So as long as you are set up in OBMS, which is the official school budget platform, you can complete a projection of your membership. And then what I do is I validate that data for you using the 40-day because you're new. For existing programs, it is an average of 80 and the 120-day membership.
Miss
Does
Erica,
that answer your? Sure.
Sorry, could you click on your live link because we can't click on it and post it on the chat?
Well, yeah, I haven't put the PowerPoint in the chat yet. So I can do that now. So what is it that you were clicking on?
The membership and new program projections manual, the PDF.
Yeah, because so you're going to have to get a link to the PowerPoint. You can't get it off the screen. But yes, I will do that. I'll do that in just a minute.
Thank you.
Um, sure, absolutely. Any other questions? All right, so I do want to talk about what we're doing with arts and arts integration. I am working with Michelle Holt, who is an arts integration specialist out of Albuquerque, and she is affiliated with the Santa Fe Opera, and we are putting on virtual arts integration professional development. It is open to everybody. We would love as many current teachers, future teachers. The quality of her sessions is so high. It's kind of amazing how much art can happen and how much art learning can happen virtually. But we're doing it virtually so that we can reach as many people as possible. Because one of the things that we know is that especially for smaller schools, charter schools, and our little tiny districts, is that arts instructors feel very isolated. So we are also really trying to create a community for arts instructors. And so this also is a live link, and you can sign up. And we still have we still have 5 sessions to go. We held one live in Farmington, and that is a picture of that. And we are going to be holding a couple of live, and I will send out information about that. Um, and then this is my contact information. If you have any questions, the art that you see, I gathered from the state fair because every year I have the good fortune and a lot of fun to coordinate the school arts exhibit at the state fair, which is super fun. And then I bring some back to the Jerry Apodaca building, and that's what you see here. But I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to put the link to the PowerPoint in the chat now. And if you want to try, make sure that the links are working, that's great, but I'm pretty sure they are. So does anybody have any other questions?
So this may seem like a silly question, but if you were going to have a program like this, how much time per week is your instructor working with students? Is it something they have to do every day? Is it once a month? Is it an hour a month? Is it an hour a week? Is it again? And I'm thinking about on the scheduling, just how much time these kids have with all these different things, or is it
So
something that?
another great question. Yeah. So we do want to know. And as far as I know, I'm not looking for a minimum. However, integrating is a great way to do it.
Yeah.
So that is and that's in part why we are doing this arts integration series.
Okay.
So but yeah, great question. So here's an example. Um, there are some of our micro districts like San Juan. Out there, they have a total of 125 students in their entire district, K-12. And what they do with it is they hire the Missoula Children's Theater, and the Missoula Children's Theater travels down to their area and spends a week. And they put on it's kind of a drop everything and spend a week getting ready to put on a live musical performance. And so that's how they use their money. So that
Okay.
gives you an example. There's a lot of flexibility.
So for instance, we did some other programming. It was just, for the heck of it out here where we invited local students on Friday when they weren't doing their classwork. We do a 4-day classroom out here or 4-day a week class. And so on Fridays, once a month, we would have folks from Santa Fe, the New Mexico School for the Arts, Cooking with Kids there's Queen Bee Music. There was another organization that would come out for the day, and the kids would do all these different I call them enrichment activities for the day, but they would come out once a
Fantastic.
month.
Yep. Yep. I mean that would meet it. So how many K6 students are you projecting to have?
37.
Yeah, so that's not going to fund that much.
Right. No, it's $13,800. I calculated.
So, so yeah, you have some flexibility there. But but it is intended to, support some of what you do, and even if
Yeah.
that's supplies. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. I just didn't want to find out that, oh, you have to have an hour a day of fine arts every day. And we said, how are we going to fit that in? And how are we going to pay for that much?
Yep. Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. I'm a huge believer in this is doing things with kids other than just academics is really important.
Well, it really is, and it does. I mean, it does provide a wonderful opportunity for meeting, the mandates of the Yazzie Martinez consolidated lawsuit, right? I mean, because the arts absolutely support, elevate, tap into home cultures,
Yeah.
and make that learning culturally and linguistically responsive and sustaining. And so, absolutely, yep.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. And please feel free to reach out. My contact information is on that last slide. I usually get back to people within 24 hours. I want to be a resource for you.
Thanks so much, Erica. So much great information. I hope some of our schools take advantage of it.
Well, thank you. Thank you for providing this opportunity to get in front of schools because we really, having the information up front, answers questions before before the confusion. So I'm happy to do it.
Sure. Thank you for your time.
Absolutely. Good luck, everybody. All right. Bye.
Bye. Well, everyone, we have they're kind of stacked up today. So if you need to run to the bathroom, we have 3 or 4 minutes until the next one.
Thank you for sending these recordings. I have to get ready for my occupancy with the fire guys, so I hate that I have to leave at 11, but it's hard to get them there.
Yeah, sure. Well, we have one more from 10:30, 11. So you'll just miss one if you're staying on till then.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Yep.
I assume we're getting started pretty quick, but I have another question that um, at CLAC, we are in the process of hiring a part-time physical therapist, a part-time SLP, and an OT. Um, for the school, to the extent that any of our students need services, I know we've got something in our budget for ancillary services. Is that how we pay for that? Will the school contract with CLAC or someone else? It doesn't have to be necessarily CLAC, but they're going to have people here on site, so that would make a lot of sense. Um, or is there other funding besides what we've put some money in the budget?
She may have gone to the bathroom, Steve. I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. I don't know who was there or not.
But we do have time, we're done at 11:30, so we can try to tackle some things then.
And it's not time sensitive, but I'm just kind of thinking about some of these folks. I know that some of the kids at schools have that they get services outside of school, extra services that they've got Medicaid insurance that pays for them. I didn't know whether or not students paid for these services with their insurance or whether the school paid for them and again, it's just I want to get a little smarter.
Yeah, those are some of the in the weeds questions that I'm not sure about. So I'll let Missy answer those when
Okay.
she gets back.
Good morning, Ted and everybody. I'm just still trying to deal with some technical difficulties. I'll be with you in just a moment.
Okay, Birgit, sounds good.
I am back. What's the question?
Oh, it's not time sensitive, but we are in the process of CLAC is going to hire a PT, a part-time PT, OT, and SLP to work with some of our clients out here, and thinking that that would be a great opportunity for them also if any of the students need those services that we contract the school could contract with them to provide that. I didn't know how the funding worked for that though. Is that something that we just um, I know that I think we put something in SEG and I think there's something in the budget for
Right,
ancillary
so
services.
you won't really, your SEG really won't reflect your actual student population until
Right.
about January of 2027. So you'll have to pay for it from the SEG starting July 2026. So you you will you'll be working with the business manager on when you put in your proposed 910B5 budget in the spring. You'll be guessing at the students who will
We'll
have
need services.
special services, and your SEG will reflect that. But then, of course, when 40-day rolls around, and PED is looking at those numbers, they'll make any adjustments up or down. And of course, that tends to lag a bit. So it is one of the tougher parts of launching a school, getting the enough money for all of the services you have to provide. So figuring out, a good buffer zone for being able to provide that, because you have to provide for
Right.
it. So it's
If
particularly in
it,
the first year, it's almost like a reimbursed expense. But
okay. But if it's in the IEP that they require these services, the
right,
school provides them, the school pays the provider, and that at some point, hopefully, the school gets funding from SEG funds to pay for that.
Right. And
theoretically.
it's very important that whoever your NOVA coordinator is, the person who logs all that information is categorizing the students correctly so that they are generating the required, the funds that they'll
Yep.
need. So I definitely think, establishing with your business manager to have a report every year or every, 6 months or so on how much of your funding is being generated by those needs. That to me,
Yep.
I feel like boards aren't really aware of, like, you have these many kids generating the need for these services, and you have the services, and
You'd like them to balance.
is that covering your
Yep.
needs? Because I think that information is important for the board to know, the school to know, and then also to report back and say, to have that information that comes back to the PED, like, yeah, we want to provide all these services. You need to give us more SEG for these particular services, but it doesn't always work that way. But
Yeah.
having data always is impactful. And
Yeah, no, the reason I asked, we've got one of our employees has a student at Mora that has special needs, and she's not very satisfied with some of the services she's getting, and she's actually looking at contracting or using. She's got Medicaid insurance that she would actually go out there and get those services herself, in addition to what the school is providing, supplemental services. And it seemed like that's another way that someone could get services through and have it paid through their insurance. But that's different than what the school's doing.
right.
Okay, we ready to move on?
Sorry, thank you.
That's all right. We have Birgit Maurer from the Educator Quality Division. Birgit, we have 3 schools here, 3 of our implementation year schools. One is down in Las Cruces in Spira STEAM Academy. One is here in Albuquerque Equip Academy. And then one is in Mora Collins Lake Outdoor School.
Awesome. I think that's an awesome concept. An outdoor school. A friend of mine in Germany has an outdoor kindergarten, and I think that's awesome. And welcome aboard. I'm very excited. We have new charter schools joining us and finding that alternate way to reaching our students. Kudos to you and thank you to you. I think Kat, we met before at a training, if I remember correctly, about the Elevate the Excel educator evaluations. So the Educator Growth and Development Bureau is under the Educator Quality Division. I am the manager. Hi, Kat. I'm the manager of that bureau. It used to be director, and then they changed our titles because directors are GovX, and when the governor leaves, we lose our jobs, and I'd much rather have a job than that title. And in that bureau, we have the evaluations, the teacher and principal evaluation. Excel New Mexico is for site administrators / principals, and Elevate is for the teachers. Charter schools can opt out of the platform, but they cannot opt out of actually evaluating their educators. So if you choose to not use our platform, which we're in the process of we're sending out an RFP for a different platform rather than Canvas, knowing very well that Canvas is a teaching tool, not an evaluation tool. When the state started that, it was right about COVID, and that was a management tool that we had online. Rather than spending time on finding something else, it was put into that. But we've been eager to find a different platform. So we're working on that. We finally got some money allocated from the legislature to do that. That said, I know that some of these things are different for charter schools. We're perfectly aware, and we're absolutely open to hear you. We want to be the helpy helpertons, not the pointing fingers and I think for our students to be successful, we all have to work together. And our bureau is very much interested in working with you and assisting you with any questions you may have. I have a fairly long, but I'm going to race through it a little bit. But I will send you a copy of the presentation afterwards. I think, Ted, I'll just send it to you, and if you wouldn't mind sharing that with the three schools. It basically is an overview of the educator evaluations. Further, our Bureau has Title II, Part A, the teacher further continuing education and teacher training. As a new school, it'll take till year 2 till we have your 40-day data for the first year, and then for year 2 we will be able to assign you no CAD, it is not mandatory that we use Canvas for the evaluations. As long as you are using a evaluator system, and a lot of charter schools do that, it should rely on the 4 domains of the Danielson's framework, with the professional development and classroom environment and all that, and I can share that with you. And I'm certain you know what the 4 domains are as well. I don't want to spend the time on it as such. And we have the Apple micro credentials. So for your teachers to level up, if they are not interested in doing the national board, they can use the Apple micro credentials. And we'll have my information at the end. So because we're kind of limited for time, I'm racing through this a little bit, forgive me. But please reach out for any questions you may have, so that we can make sure that your answers are met and that you can hit the ground running. And I'm hoping you can see my screen. And I lost you all.
Yes, we can
Because I
see
want to
it.
be able, thank you, Ted. I want to be able to see if you have any questions, but feel free to put them in the chat as well. So these are the liaisons who are working with the 2 programs. We want to just get a really quick overview of the 2 programs. These are the 5 big goals that you're more than likely familiar with: the literacy and math achievements, to improve student attendance, increase graduation rates, and foster reciprocal accountability. That includes us. We want to share this with you. It's not just, schools give us. We want to make sure that this is something where we do our part as well. And part of that is being open for questions and helping you move forward. And then we had our strategic plan. We fall largely under the promoting a vibrant, under the first pillar. And I don't know why I have this thing in here in the middle of my screen. I hope it doesn't impede your vision. So we want to make sure that every child has a well-prepared, well-supported, highly effective educator that uses culturally and linguistically responsive pedagogy to guide their learning and development. Because every child, in our eyes and in your eyes, I am certain, has a right to a high quality education. So Elevate, here's a very quick overview of the calendar, where the bottom part is what the site administrator does, and the top part is what the teacher does with the PDP, which is also required by law. And for the site administrator to give a response and a feedback. And also there's, in Elevate, there are ratings that need to be completed. Since this is required by law, we are required to make sure that they're done. So that we're actually going to check up on whether they're being done or not. And then walkthroughs and formal observations. The middle of the year reflection and the feedback, further walkthroughs. And if you have elementary students, there has to be a structured literacy walkthrough, and then the end of year PDP reflection, and then you can the teachers can download their evaluations from Canvas. Where's my button there? The site administrators need to rate the PDPs and all 19 elements, because we want to make sure we get as complete a picture of our evaluators in the 19 elements in the 4 domains. And you, as an administrator, you want to know their strengths, and you want to know their areas of growth, whether you need to do PD with them directly, or whether you need to find PD for them, or if you can, within the staff, have some of your teachers use their strengths to assist somebody who has some areas of growth. The feedback generally consists of the rating evidence and coaching comments. We want to make sure that we can build this capacity in our supervisors to be really more coaches than just making sure that people are showing up to work, that our administrators are actively involved in the growth of their teachers. The calibration training is required, whether it is for the Canvas program, but for your evaluation, you must be attending a training. That too is in law every other year. Our training prioritize the feedback cycle for site administrators, and the feedback is the data that drives Elevate. Site administrators and the training is to support site administrators and to support the educators. Again, I'm racing through that. Forgive me, because I know we're short, limited on time. But at the end, we have our contact information. Please reach out. The data points are the ratings for the teachers are innovating, applying, developing, and not demonstrating. And the reason why we're asking for the charter schools to send us their ratings too, we found we had a finding from the last federal audit that we did not report our ineffective, inexperienced, and out-of-field teachers. Ineffective teachers comes directly out of our evaluation. And a teacher who has more than 40% or more as not demonstrating is considered an ineffective teacher. Many of us who've lived and taught under NMTeach, hearing the term ineffective, it kind of like gives you a little bit of a nervous twitch, but the federal departments are still using ineffective, so we're going to go with that. But we purposefully used these four categories for our teachers, for our evaluations, and they're similar in Excel. So for the programs, we have a new data analysis course where anybody at this point who has a Canvas account can sign up. If you do not have a Canvas account, please feel free to reach out and we can get you set up with an account. We'll have to do a help desk ticket so that you can look at the Canvas data reports, what we have for the time being. And these reports are all elements, whether you have the structured literacy report bundle that you need to see what's going on there. The PDP report, even though that only captures PDP as being complete after the administrator has given feedback and has done the ratings in the related rubric. And then walkthroughs and formal observations reports and ineffective teacher reports. For the federal report that we do, we are only looking at domains 2, 3, and 4, but we really encourage you to do all 19 elements, so domain 1 as well. And in Canvas, the Mastery Gradebook looks and captures only the highest rating. So if one of your teachers had a not demonstrating in the fall, but then worked it up and you see that they've accomplished something and you give them an achieving rating, an applying rating, that overrides that in the mastery ratings. The data is captured. All data and reports are based on the site administrator's rating, and it's reported in a CSV file so that you can download it and then look and organize it whichever way works best for you. We do have, and this is a little bit outdated, we haven't done that, but we do have support sessions for your teachers. Of course, you're not open yet, so you may not have teachers on staff yet, but you're absolutely invited to attend some of our supervisors and site administrator trainings, which has to do with Elevate and Excel. Ask any questions you are interested in. On this one, we also talk about the Apple micro credentials. So you're more than welcome come by for any of those. Again, send me an email if you are interested, and I'll send you the link. And then for Excel New Mexico, you may remember if you were a principal in one of the traditional public schools, you had the house, the three non-carbon copy paper, and everybody filled it out and you went into a filing cabinet, never to be seen, never heard of again. This is equally interactive as Elevate is, where we're encouraging supervisors, and I know for many of you this will be your board, to interact with the people they evaluate. We had a task force who helped build this, and there's a link. And again, I'll share this PowerPoint with Ted to share with you so you can have a look into all of the findings in there. We want to strengthen the site administrators' performance, nourish professional practice. It really should empower site administrators as instructional leaders through meaningful, frequent, and actionable feedback. We want to make sure that this is interactive and growth-oriented. Both Elevate and Excel are growth-oriented. We're finding your areas of strength and we're celebrating them, but there might be some areas of need or somewhere where you just need help. And that's what we're here for, to help you grow in your role as administrators. Excel basis on the 5 essential practices: organizational advancement, instructional core, talent, culture and safety, and personal integrity. And some of you may have another administrator working with you, then you would be in charge of evaluating them. Chances are you as head administrators are evaluated by your board. Here are the 18 elements we have in Excel, I'm sorry, under the 5 different elements. Oops. Similar as we do in Elevate, everything is on a circle and on a cycle. So it's a self-assessment and reflection. I'm not sure how well that reads on your screen. The professional development plan implementation and evidence, formative feedback, and end-of-year assessment. And all of this is in collaboration with whoever is supervising you. And as I showed you earlier for Elevate, we have a similar timeline for Excel, where the bottom is your responsibility as an administrator, and then up here as a supervisor if you are evaluating like an assistant principal or such. And we have some suggested activities in timeline where supervisors and administrators collaborate and interact together. This is extended over here. And here is our information. And as I said, I'll send that PDF of this to Ted later on so he can share that with you. And please, please, please reach out. And if you have any questions, I'll stop sharing and ask away. So same for whether it's for Elevate Excel or for the micro-credentials for Apple or for Title II. And sometimes my best questions come at 3 o'clock in the morning. Please do reach out immediately per email.
I do have a question. Dr. Bridget shared with us, yes, she shared with us at the conference that we didn't have to use this system to evaluate our teachers or ourselves. Will there be a platform where we upload that information? Because she said that we do have to report this to the state, the data that we do gather.
The state has a platform, I believe it's called Epicenter, where you do your evaluation plan for your PDP, however you're doing those, and for your evaluation data. We have a couple of Google Forms where you can upload them to us so that we can have the complete data for the state, so that we can avoid having that another little love letter from the feds about posting the effectiveness data. And the way that goes, we just need to, by school district, post a percentage of ineffective teachers. We will never give out their names. It's literally just a percentage of teachers that are ineffective at a site.
Beautiful. And will that epicenter be the same epicenter that we're using now? And I don't know that you know this, Mr. Ted, do you know that?
Yeah, I mean, that is the only one. So if that's the one we're using, then yes.
Yeah, that's for your evaluation plan. That should be uploaded there. That was my understanding. And Missy, please chime in.
No, yeah, we're really excited about being able to work with Birgit's team in this epicenter task. We're hoping that it's easier for our school leaders to to just deal with it here in Epicenter. And if it works well, we're hoping to sell our wares to the rest of PED. It's not going to work for some aspects, like probably the Safe Schools plan, but other things that we could try to streamline reporting requirements for our schools as much as possible.
And I'm excited about this collaboration too, because bottom line is we have to do it by law. Bottom line is you have to evaluate. Bottom line is you have to submit a plan if you're not using ours. So if that can be done through Epicenter, and I'm so excited to work together with charter schools because I want to make sure that you are as supported as you can, as we can possibly do. And if I don't know that you're having a need, then I can't help. But that's the team and I are really excited for this really growing collaboration with charter schools, because as Missy put it so aptly in her signature line, charter schools are public schools. So if you're getting the money, you should get the support, the technical support, and whatever else there is. I feel very strongly about making sure that this is as equitable as possible. Good question, Ms. Rivera Tapia. So, Mr. Maybe you have the outdoor school?
He's got an outdoor school up in Mora.
That's awesome. I want to go for a site visit.
Okay. Yeah, no,
once you got it running.
We've done a lot of education programs outside of just on our own with grant funding. So the charter school is kind of our big step to take a lot of this outdoor stuff we've been doing and actually formalize it into a real school.
Wonderful. And Ms. Rivera Tapia, are you in Albuquerque or in Las Cruces?
No, ma'am. I'm in Las Cruces.
And you're doing the STEM school?
Yes, we're doing the STEAM bilingual.
Wow.
Yeah.
How cool. Where in Las Cruces are you at? I used to be in Chaparral, just between El Paso and Las Cruces.
Very nice. So I have one of my best friends when I was living in Albuquerque is from Chaparral, and I'm like, I know where it is now. So I know where it is now. So we don't currently have a building yet, but we are right now. Our office is in the Alma de Arte building. So
okay, I know
right
where that
downtown.
Is. Sweet. And Miss Hedrick, you're going to be in Albuquerque, or your school's going to be in Albuquerque?
No, that's Kat Duran.
Yeah. And Miss Hedrick, you're with us? You have the same background. Never mind. And Kat, you're in Albuquerque, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Equip, you're all opening this summer. Well, next summer, right?
That's the hope. That's the hope.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, I have confidence.
I do too. I think that's what the best we can do is go at this with confidence and high expectations. And again, if there's anything we can do to help you, please reach out. We are eager to have you succeed.
Thank you so much, Birgit.
Look at that. I made it before the 11 o'clock mark.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did it great. I felt bad you had to rush through, but you did it so effortlessly.
Well, we've done it a couple of times, so it's we know what we're talking about. We had this, we've done it for 2 years now, where we do regional presentations, and Kat was actually at one of those here in Albuquerque just a few months ago. Because sometimes it's just a totally different setting if you're in the same room with people rather than in the Hollywood squares as we are right now. So as I said, Ted, I'll send it to you right now, and you'll email that to them, and then please reach out if we can be of assistance. Or when, not if, when.
I will do that. Thank you, Birgit.
Thank you. Then I'm hopping off. I have 5 million other things I need to get done. Thank you. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for putting your lives on a totally different track with doing what you're doing. And it's not easy, but it's worthwhile. And I thank you in the name of the children of New Mexico. Have a good one.
Thank you.
All right, let's see. Okay, we already have transportation. So next up we have the Transportation Bureau, we have Amanda Lapardis and Alyssa Marquez. Amanda and Alyssa, these are 3 implementation schools, charter schools. We have Equip Academy in New Mexico, Cat Duran and that's located in Albuquerque. We have Inspira STEAM Academy, Julia Rivera Tapia in Las Cruces, and we have Collins Lake Outdoor School, and that's Mr. Steve Smaby and Mora.
Perfect. Nice to meet y'all. My name is Amanda Lupardis. I am the manager of transportation and capital outlay. So in our presentation today, Alyssa Marquez is also online. She is a financial analyst specialist for both transportation and capital outlay. So we just did a little combination of both just to inform you on what our bureau does and the funding that we administer. And Alyssa's going to start us off.
I don't know if anyone can see my screen or not.
I'll let you know.
Let's okay. Can you see it?
Yep.
Perfect. Okay. It wants to. There we go. Sorry. Technical difficulties, sorry. Okay, so today we are going to be discussing to and from school bus allocations, the transportation infrastructure, training and support, and how the data that you submit to us is utilized. So calculating the formula, PED transportation collects data on the second and third reporting date of the prior year, which would be 80 day and 120 day. We collected data of ridership, the number of miles traveled, the amount of buses that are utilized, along with the number of school days that students are transported. And I want to put kind of an emphasis on that because when calendars are made and submitted to school budget, it also includes parent-teacher conference days, or teacher development days, I'm sorry, or even remote days. Those days cannot be counted. It has to be only days that students are transported. And then we calculate the distribution by statute 22-8-29 by incorporating these factors into your guys' appropriation amount. So some school bus replacement requirements pursuant to 22-8-27 NMSA 1978, school buses must be replaced on a 12-year cycle. And the request is submitted to the legislature based on the replacement cycles, the number of buses that are eligible for replacement, things like that. And it's also based off of what the current price of buses are, based off of what the market is. District-owned school buses also receive cameras. So they receive a $3,500 allocation toward the purchase of cameras for each bus based off of the replacement cycle. So to support transportation programs, we provide technical assistance at the Spring Budget Workshop, which is usually in March. Also through the NOVA conference, which is typically during the summer, such as July-ish. The NOVA conference is based off of your requirements for reporting on 80-day and 120-day. And we also conduct technical assistance visits. So we'll go out to your school district or your charter school and provide you in-person training or help, I guess you could say. We do have two individuals who are not on this call with us, but we have Luis Fierro and Corey Brook. They are the ones that conduct the technical assistance visits. They also conduct school bus driver instructor course, which also has a mandatory pre-service training for any driver trainees. Those classes are typically done in the summer when school is out. So if you want information on that, definitely reach out to them. And I will also drop our contact information link so that you guys have that. We also conduct CDL examiner classes. Again, Luis and Corey do that, which allows bus drivers to become certified to examine individuals that are interested, in obtaining their CDL to drive school buses. And they also conduct driver inspector trainings. So per 6.41.4 NMAC, school bus transportation standards. The objective of this statute is to establish a safe, timely, and efficient system of transportation responsive to the needs of eligible public school students, including children and youth in foster care and homeless children and youth, and to guide the provision of school transportation as a related service to students with individual education programs or IEPs. LEAs shall ensure that all eligible students are served within the requirements of current federal and state laws and department regulations. And school bus service contracts, which is 22-16-3 NMSA. A school district or charter school may provide transportation services to students through the use of a school bus service contract. All contracts entered into by a school district or charter school are to provide school bus services to students attending public school within the school district, and it must be approved by the local school board or the governing council. Contracts shall also be in writing or written forms approved by the department or PED, and we shall require the documentation also has, that's written wrong, I think. Shall require documentation that the school district has filed a lien on each school bus. So any bus that a contractor may have, the school district or the charter school must be listed as a lien holder on the title of each bus. A contract between the school district or charter school and the contractor cannot exceed 5 years. And then in the event that a contract with a school bus contractor is terminated or not renewed by either party, buses shall be appraised by 3 qualified appraisers appointed by the local school board and approved by the state transportation director or Amanda. The operator succeeding to the contract shall purchase with the approval of the operator whose contract was terminated all of the buses owned by the former operator at their appraised value. So in other words, if a new contractor is awarded, they can purchase the buses from the old contractor at the appraised value. Requirements for school bus service negotiations with charter schools, 6.43.4 NMAC. A local school district shall negotiate with a charter school to provide transportation to eligible students. Transportation services are confined within the limits established by the public school district in conjunction with the charter school. The transportation limits shall be within the school district boundary or as adjusted in accordance with an approved school district transportation boundary agreement. So this is more in reference to local charter schools. If you are a local charter school, you must work with your local district to provide transportation to your students. If you are a state charter school, you can go out and obtain your own contractor.
Can I,
And
can I throw a quick question in there? Is there, so we will be state authorized. There's no way we could, we're very, very small. Does the school district have any obligation to work with us? Or because we're a state charter, they might if they want to, but they don't have to?
Correct. As a state charter, it is up to you if you want to provide transportation to your students or not. I do actually, starting this year, have a state district, or I'm sorry, a state charter school that is working with a school district to provide transportation for their students. So the district was very nice in the sense that they did that. But keep in mind, they do not have to.
Okay. Yeah, no, I don't, and they have enough problems with transportation. They don't want to take on any more, but I'm just curious whether or not that's something they would have to do. I didn't think they did, but okay, thank you.
Yeah, no, they don't have to. Again, if they're wanting to be nice, they can definitely do that, and you can enter into a contract with them on that.
Do we have any other transportation questions before we move on to capital outlay? No? Okay, so we're gonna just review capital outlay for now. We're gonna discuss Public School Lease Purchase Act, the sources of funding that capital outlay administers, and dispositions of property. What we listed here is just the documentation that's required when you want to enter into an approved lease purchase agreement with PED. So you must submit the following to PED. It's the PSFA approval, cover letter, the school board or governing body minutes, the list of sources of funds, so a list of where you're going to be paying for this lease, and a copy of the proposed lease purchase arrangement. All this documentation would be submitted to me, and then we'll review with our governing council, school budget, and send the approval letter out. This is a list of the sources of funding that the Capital Outlay Bureau administers. The 27107 is GOB library funds. That's for all library acquisitions that should be held in the library. These funds cannot be utilized in the classrooms. We offer school bus infrastructure. So if a district or charter school is interested in applying for an electric bus or a propane bus, that's what this funding is for. If a charter school is interested in this, they must be in either a public facility or an approved lease purchase. 31200 is the Public School Capital Outlay Act. This one is just utilized for budgeting allocations that are administered by the Public School Facility Authority. 31400 is direct legislative appropriations. Those are approved by the legislature for specific projects. We administer the 31700 with this SB9 state match reimbursement. 31701 is your SB9 local tax, and 31703 is your SB9 state match cash base. So if you're a new charter, you wouldn't be associated with 31700 at all, because we used to reimburse. Now we send out the cash directly. So this is just an overview of what I just stated. So usually PED is granted $6 million for the library books and resources that we send out to school districts and charter schools every 2 years. And these projects last for 4 years. The SB9 local tax, charter schools needs shall be included in the SB9 elections. Charter schools should be included in the resolution. So it is up to the charter school to work with their district to get added to the resolution. If you don't do so, then you will not be able to get these funds unless the district distributes them to you. These funds are distributed by the county treasurer to each charter school. SB 9 state match funds will be distributed to districts and charter schools based on using average 80 and 120-day prior year membership. No distribution to charter schools who did not commence instruction in prior year. So if you're just opening up, say next year, so you're not eligible for the funding for the first year that you open. So you would receive the SB 9 state match the following year. The 31,400 direct appropriations, we administer around 240 direct appropriations every year. These are for either construction projects, they could be minor projects such as playground equipment, IT equipment, security equipment, so forth. So basically, a charter school will need to get with their legislator to get it sponsored. You would go to the legislative website to apply for these fundings. The district has the option of rejecting appropriations, including reauthorizations. It's administered by us, and funds are distributed on a reimbursement basis. Dispositions of property. So anything over 30,000 needs PED approval for any tangible items. So the prior approval needs to come to us. Say you want to dispose of a vehicle that is valued at over 30,000, then that would come to us. If it's, say, computers, then PED does not need to approve that. Our checklist is on our website, along with the form that's required and the supporting documentation that's required. And what we included here is just phone numbers for OSA. So OSA usually, so if it's computers, anything under 30,000, then you would just inform OSA of that. State Board of Finance deals with real property over $150,000. So there's a contact information for that. And then my phone number as a PED contact. And then the next slide, I just included the financial portion of our bureaus. Our contact information, which Alyssa stated she'd submit in the chat all of our contact information. And with that, I'll stand for questions on capital outlay.
Well, I know one of our schools, she had an 11 o'clock appointment, so she had to jump off, but I don't see any questions.
Yeah. Well, if you think of anything, please reach out to us.
Thank you, Amanda and Alyssa. Thanks for.
Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Any other questions? Who do we have next, Ted?
That is it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda.
Thank you, Amanda. Yeah, we ran through four bureaus pretty quickly.
I couldn't remember how many. I think my meds are starting to wear off.
I'm not going to believe this, but I've run out of questions.
Unbelievable. I don't believe it. But actually, since I won't send you an email, I'll just tell you now. So because you aren't making a change in your head administrator, you don't have to send in any of the change paperwork. You just have to just send us an email with her, who they
Name and
are.
number.
In Epicenter, you'll want to upload her level 3 licensure and, maybe a little narrative about that she's enrolled in
Okay.
course or whatever. And
That makes sense.
Information and stuff like that. So
yeah, I need to get a copy of her license.
yeah. So when you get that done.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, beautiful people. I hope you guys have a nice holiday season, and we'll see you in the new year.
Thank you.
You.
Yeah.
Take care. Feel better, Miss Missy.
I'm
Yeah.
trying. Bye.
Bye, everybody.